Hey, good morning guys, welcome back to Heiko Shaves. I figured today would be a great day to start a little excursion into injector razors. I currently own two injector razors. One is a vintage, a PAL adjustable, and the other one is a brand new Parker adjustable injector razor. So how did injector razors come to the market? Apparently there was a guy called LtCol.Schick. You might not know his name from the razor company Schick. And he served in World War I, and he was really impressed by the semi-automatic rifle and how it loads ammunition semi-automatically. And so I guess he was an inventor of some sort. He decided to improve upon the razors that were available, and he came up with this injector razor. What is an injector razor? It's a single-edged razor that uses a magazine of some sort of description. So the so-called injector. This one here is made by Parker. I haven't even really looked at it. So here's the little magazine. It has this little key. The key gets inserted into the injector razor, and then you have a little slide, and the slide pushes in a new blade. So when, let's see if I can actually pull this off. So when the key is inserted into your injector razor and you push a new blade in, the old blade gets expelled. Just like on a semi-automatic rifle, empty cartridge gets pulled out and a new gets inserted. So that was the idea. I guess LtCol.Schick was really impressed by that. And if I'm not completely mistaken, let's see here real quick. The first injector razor that was brought to the market was actually marketed Magazine Repeating Razor Company in 1925. So that's when that all started. Of course, he took out a patent on this design, so it was protected. He was the only one who could really produce those for a few years, or a couple decades actually. And then eventually this patent protection ran out, and then other companies wanted to get in on the action. Gillette tried, but at the time Schick was already the name for injector razors. So Gillette, didn't succeed, I guess. And then there was also American Safety Razor Company that were already making all kinds of different products under different brand names. So they owned Persona at some point, GEM at some point, and also PAL. So here, this is a PAL injector razor. That razor brand name, PAL, that actually started in the 1920s roughly as PAL Cutlery Company. And when they went out of business, the American Safety Razor Company bought the rights to this name. And under PAL, they, marketed injector razors. And since Schick was kind of owning the injector razor market here in the US, they sold most of those PALs actually in Europe or other markets. So injector razors, they are kind of interchangeable. The injectors that you can buy from supply from Parker, and I think there is still Schick injectors out there. Maybe some other brands that I'm missing at the moment, but they are kind of interchangeable, I think. I'm not 100% sure if the supply company injector fits into those vintage ones, because I believe they use a plastic key. But don't quote me on that. I don't have any experience with those other than looking at them. So this one is off eBay, wasn't really expensive. There is an old blade in there, which we definitely will not use. And then let's unpack the Parker here so we can kind of look at them side by side. They are very similar in design. Of course, just like in the DE safety razor world, you can change some geometry. So you can see here, the head angle is a little different. But overall, they look fairly similar. Here, the Parker with a huge knob, the PAL with a little knob. On the Parker, it's 1 through 5 adjustment. On the PAL, it's just low to high. And I will show, or try to show you what it does. So at the moment, it's sitting at low. If I now turn this, it retracts the guard. It pulls it back in so that the blade edge gets more exposed. So high is, I'm assuming high is the more aggressive. Yeah. So those are the two razors that I have, and I figured, why don't we start with one of the, the granddaddy or the uncle of the Parker here, even though, I got this huge sponsorship package No strings attached from Parker. They sent me blades, they sent me soap, they sent me a brush, they sent me a shave bowl. So I owe Parker in a way, but they didn't make me sign any kind of agreements. I didn't have to join an affiliate program because I really want to be independent with my opinions. I don't want my opinions to be tainted by some sort of business affiliation or any kind of money exchanged. So let's start with the PAL, but we will have to use the Parker blades because I don't have any other injector currently. Let me dip this thing into some rubbing alcohol real quick, get everything set up here in my bathroom, figure out what kind of soap and aftershave I want to use, and then I will be back with you and we're gonna get right into a shave with an injector razor with this old PAL. I cannot tell you exactly when this was made. I only know that I think PAL actually printed myself some notes here. I looked into the history of the injector razor. So I'm assuming that once that patent for the Schick injector razor kind of ran out, other companies wanted to get on to the bandwagon, and PAL, they must have started out sometime in the 60s because everything that I can find is always in the 60s. And then eventually, late 80s, early 90s, production of injector razors pretty much came to a standstill. And then eventually Parker came out. Parker, the company, has been around since 1973. I don't know exactly when they started making an injector razor, but it must have been sometime after 1973, obviously. And then Supply Company, they apparently started prototyping in 2014 to come out with, models and trying out. And then I think they actually sell a few different models, but I'm not familiar yet because I haven't really held a Supply Company injector razor yet, but hopefully that's going to happen one day. All right, let me prep and I'll be right back.
5 minutes later.
All right, guys, so everything is loaded, ready to go. Here's the PAL razor. Now that it's IPA soaked, we are going to inject a new blade. Let's see if I can figure out how to do this. So there is a pull direction and a push direction. So you push the key. Let me show you one more time. Here's a slot on the side right there. That's where the injector goes in, or the key goes in, so that the slot here in the front and the razor head kind of line up with each other. Makes sense, right? Then you pull this little slide back. There's a pull direction, pull it back. So then the blade, spring loaded, get pushed up to the top here. And then now when I start pushing, it will just grab one blade and push it into the razor head as the old one, the one that we're definitely going to be discarding here in my little disposal, the new one gets pushed in, old one gets pushed out. You need to push it all the way to the end here. And what can I say? The blade doesn't line up. See that? I don't know what happened here. This is definitely not great. So do I now need to get a little screwdriver to correct this, to get here on the end and push the blade down? This wasn't planned. I mean, there was an old blade in there. Maybe that was stuck a little more than it used to be, or it's supposed to be. But now that's definitely not lining up. So you guys hold on. I'll be right back with a miniature screwdriver. So, little screwdriver. Let's reach in here and without causing any damage to anything, just try to get the blade in line, which I think I accomplished. So I think we can pull the injector now out. The blade should be in there as far as it needs to be, I think. I mean, it sticks out on one side. Over here was the injector, and here it sticks out a little bit out of the head. So I'm just gonna push a little bit on it. But at least the blade edge is now parallel to the other edges there. I'm gonna dip this into IPA one more time and let it sit here, evaporate, while we put on some pre-shave. It's the good old, the white Parasol. I like it a lot, almost better than the green one. The green one is a little harder the viscosity, I guess, is a little thicker, and it's not as easy to spread out as the white one. And the white one is the, you know, the sensitive skin version. So that's good. I have sensitive skin. Perfect match. I have about 2 days of growth. I always try to do that for you guys. I let it grow out a couple of days until my kids look at me funny, like, oh, you need to shave. So, 2 days, a PAL 1960s injector razor with a Parker blade. We're gonna start it setting low and just let it sit here for a second. We're gonna grab my Purasso green soap that I still love. We're gonna grab my DS Cosmetic synthetic brush, get it wet. Don't need to pre-soak. I just squeeze the water out of it, go into my little Purasso shave cup here. It's a perfect match made in heaven. The soap in there, it's the same pug of Purasso green that I started using all these months ago, and we're still going strong. And I really only preload the brush until I feel like I have enough soap in it, and then I like to face lather, as you guys already know. I'm using warm water, by the way. So yeah, winter has arrived here. And warm water, oops, I'm making a mess. Warm water feels good. Let's take a little more on the brush tip here, a little bit more water. That looks good, that feels good. Let's get the soap off my hands. Here, let's do the swipe down here. And that swipe. So we look a little bit more presentable. And now we're gonna take the freshly IPA disinfected injector. Get that wet. On low, let's see what that feels like. Oh. I don't think it's cutting anything. So let's turn this halfway. So halfway is kind of the middle center. Like I said, that retracts the closed comb. It pulls it back in this direction, and it should expose the blade a little more. I'm not sure if there's anything cutting going on here. You guys let me know. You guys probably have way more experience with injectors than I do, but there are stubbles here and I don't see or feel anything. All right, let's crank it up to 11 here, okay? This is high, so the closed comb is in its fully retracted position. I gotta say, the blade gap between the closed comb and the blade isn't really large, so if you have lots of stubbles, yeah, let's lather up this section again, because we just scraped off the soap and nothing else. Okay, let's do that again. I don't know. Is there no shaving going on? Am I doing something wrong, guys? Huh. I might have cut a little bit. But the tiny little gap between the blade and the guard or comb is really clogged up. I guess we're finally making some progress here. So right out of the gate to the highest setting, that is not very good. I'm going to try to thin out my lather a little bit. I'm picking up some water right now. I'm going to make this a little bit more watery, not quite as creamy as I usually shave, because this little gap is just clogged up so quickly. And let me put the razor down here in the water so it can soak a little bit. Yeah, that's a true experiment here. I have no clue what I'm doing. Obviously, first the blade doesn't go in straight, and now this thing doesn't want to shave much. Maybe I'm not getting the angle right, but it should be relatively intuitive, right? All right, let's try this again. I think we're just going to continue, pull through this first pass and see what it does. I'm not sure if I read that somewhere, that the PAL adjustable seems to be super mild. And I would not call this mild, I would call this non-shaving. Because if a blade edge is so recessed and so tugged away that it doesn't make any contact with your stubbles, nor with your skin at all, then, you know, this is a so I don't know exactly. In my lather here, in the foam, you can see a few stubbles. And I can see some stubbles coming off here in the water down below me here as well. So there's definitely some shaving action going on. It doesn't have much blade feel at all in this really high setting, or the highest setting that it offers. I'm not sure. I guess once we get to the Parker injector razor in the next, or one of the next videos, we will have to find out if, oh yeah, so the gap between the comb and the blade is kind of open to the back here. So you see where the foam and the lather is hanging out. So that's where it's clogging up. And even if I'm wildly swishing this around here in my hot water, it's not really coming out. All right, we made it through pass number 1. I can tell there is a little bit of some shaving going on, at least here in my mustache section. I felt it, but it left behind so much that I feel like I haven't shaved yet. I do have some stubbles floating around in the water, so that's a good indication. But I don't think we're gonna get a clean shave out of this in 3 passes. Let's see, yeah. So I guess the thicker, the creamier your lather is, the more prone the PAL will be in clogging. It's not a good start into my injector razor excursion. You guys let me know down in the comments section what you think. Is that normal for a PAL? Is that why they went out of production eventually? I guess Schick razors, they were made for about 80 years. They must have stopped in the late 90s making injector razors. Because now if I look on Schick's webpage, they make cartridge razors and that's pretty much it. Unfortunately. All right, second pass. Now across the grain, same setting, you know, high. I mean, I can hear a little bit of some shaving action. Now I suddenly start feeling blade. So now I almost feel like I want to turn this down and see it at half setting. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it was stuck. Maybe I should have given this a little bit more attention before I started here. But now we're at half. Let's see if there is anything going on at half. Yep, stomach is growling. I already have a nick, so something is going on. There's a lot of stubble left, and I'm like blade buffing, and it's not really doing it. Let's see. And I find the handle a little unwieldy. It's really long. I mean, you can hold it like with your full fist, but when you want to change from, let's say I'm shaving like this, and I want to switch to the, from a pencil hold position to a, I don't know, hammer. It's a little long. Okay, trying to get the lather out. Yeah, looks pretty good. Suddenly it is a little bit more willing to clean up. Yeah, at half setting it doesn't feel quite as bladey. There is the word again. It seems to be doing something. Let's do a quick little inspection here. There's still lots of stubbles here in my mustache section especially, and also my jawline. And I've run over it now like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. So I don't know what's going on here. Maybe there's something wrong with the razor, even though I can't identify anything wrong here. Let's let you guys take a look at this. Blade gap, blade exposed, edge is parallel to everything. I think this looks all normal. And now we have exercised the mechanism here a little bit. So if I go to low, it's kind of, What are you doing, razor? I have it at low now. Let's lather up one more time and see if against the grain does anything. It seems to be benefiting from having a little bit less lather in my face because it's not as easily clogged. So a little thinner, a little more watery. I have it at low and we're gonna go against the grain. Now suddenly, I don't know, the blade was so tugged down, so close to the comb that there was no shaving action, and now suddenly, there's actually a blade gap. And this is low, so the comb is sticking out as far as it can, and it seems to be shaving. So I think maybe something was stuck there for a moment, and because of shaving and because of lubrication, it became unstuck. That could be it. I mean, now, no, actually we're doing against the grain. I had given this razor a brush clean. With dish soap and such. So, yeah. I don't know. Suddenly it feels pretty rough. Okay, guys, I don't know. There's something going on here, and we might have to revisit this PAL. I have such a hard time saying that. We have a decent blade gap, we have proper alignment, where it's setting low, and suddenly it feels more aggressive than before. I might give this another wash, run it through the ultrasonic, and then maybe put a drop of oil on things. You know, my razor oil that I have from Razor Emporium. And then we'll have to revisit this at some point. So it's not forgotten. It will not be forgotten in my drawer. I will put it next to the Schick razor that I have. I only have one Schick razor currently. So they can stare at each other a little bit. A Schick razor, double edged, not injector. If you guys use injector razors and you have a favorite, let me know what it is. If it's a Parker or a Supply or maybe one of the vintage ones. There must have been something not aligned, because now at low it is actually shaving. But I'm still not smooth after 3 passes. So let's do a quick little pickup pass, because I want to be smooth afterwards, at least somewhat. All right, here. It's unbelievable. Yeah, I'm blade buffing like a crazy person here. Now we're going to half again. Alrighty guys, I think we're gonna call this a day. Let me rinse off real quick. It's definitely not the result I was hoping for, but I just don't want to irritate my skin to death here. It does shave, but somewhat weirdly. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to hear from you guys what you think about the PAL in comparison to maybe others that you like, and maybe you have an opinion about what the best injector razor that's currently available in some shape or form is. And I mean, you know, finding the right angle on this might be a little different than on a DE razor, because you don't have the curved top that you usually use to kind of, you know. I usually just go by blade feel, so when I feel there's cutting going on, that I found the right angle. It seems to be doing something, and we will definitely revisit this. But my next injector razor shave is going to be with a Parker. I want to see if that maybe is a little bit better experience right out of the box. I will clean this up one more time. I might run this through the ultrasonic and then lubricate a little bit to see maybe if something was hung up. Weird. All right, let's rinse off. All right, so rinsed off. I gotta tell you, even though I am far from smooth, this is not BBS by any stretch of the imagination. I do feel a fair amount of irritation. So here where I did too much blade buffing, obviously, but even though it was not very great at shaving and cutting it off, but it was really great at kind of giving me this razor burn feel. So if you have a safety razor with a proper blade and you do as many passes as I just did, this needs to be BBS and not as rough as it is right now. There's some stuff left everywhere here. And I just didn't want to, yeah, my favorite. Look, we're almost running low. I saw in Germany or in Europe, they have Paraso green in large round plastic bottles. It's kind of like barber supply, I guess. So for your business, when you use up more often or daily multiple times, that you, I don't know, this is here 100 milliliters. I think the big bottle was like 300 or 400 milliliters, so almost half a liter, or a pint. Half a liter and a pint is relatively close. 23 bucks over there. I should have brought one because then I checked here on Amazon how much a Paraso green large bottle is, and it's like in the $40 range, and that's just, I mean, yeah, you get a lot of liquid for it, but anyways, so I would say this is a little bit of a fail. The PAL, I mean, it looks nice. It's stainless steel. This hard plastic insert here gives you good grip, I guess. Like I said, a little long because, some people, they hold their razor in the same position and then they contort their wrist so they can make those different angles happen. I like to just be very light on the touch here. So if I shave over here, I actually just hold it like a pencil, and then here as well. And then, so I always swing the razor around in my fingers and not with my wrist, so to speak. And for this, this very agile moving around of this razor, the handle is just super long. So if we look at something, what's really long? Leaf twig, bulbous long handle, but even shorter than the PAL. Or what else long do we have here? The Hansen AL13, also pretty long, but the PAL is longer. So maybe this would have been a little bit better design if the handle would have been, back in place. Would have been a little shorter. Let's see, is the Parker the same length? Yeah, roughly, huh? Yeah, maybe a smidge shorter, but not much. Plastic insert is a little different. Both plastic, yeah. So you can definitely see some family resemblance. Hard to say. Yeah, this is definitely going to be in one of the next few videos. So if you want to see how this continues and if the experience with the Parker is going to be better than with the PAL, stay tuned. So yeah, I think my skin has calmed down. Aftershave definitely helped. And now we're going to put some Paraso green, also running low on this stuff. This is really still the scent I like. What it does with my skin, it just treats me well. And therefore I keep going back to it. Paraso green soap, aftershave and balm are just the bomb. I have, however, switched to the sensitive pre-shave. I just like the consistency a little better. So skin is still happy. We didn't bleed anywhere really massively. I had a little nick over here, but that seems to have closed up already. So yeah, that was my first shave with a Injector Razor ever. And gotta say, I'm not super impressed, but I will give the system a little bit the benefit of the doubt because there might have been something not working right here on this vintage, probably 1960s, 70s razor that I bought relatively inexpensively from eBay. But yeah, let's check out what Parker does. Maybe supply will respond to my emails, and maybe we get a supply in our hands here as well. Alrighty guys, thanks for shaving with me today. I will see you in the next one. Bye.